Welcome back, everybody. Last banger game coming right up. Even worse timing versus rest and relaxation. I am looking forward to some rest and relaxation after this. But first and second seed, who is going to win, the monkey or the hamster? All right, both absolute gamers and dominators and predecessor. We know we kind of watched Seismic in 6 from Even Worse Timing, were former teammates by North who absolutely dominated as Chimera, as we previously watched. But Mr. Meds, what else would you like to add about these two teams?
Well, I would like to say that a hamster can get in all the small places. The monkey, can't get in the small places. So, I think that the hamster might have a little bit of an edge here. I do think that, while we did see North kind of snowball this lead and, into a win earlier in the game, we have mentioned that EWT probably has the best players in all of their 5 respective roles. So I think that that's something to be said, that, while the monkey might have some, big swings, the hamster can get in the little small places. So,
I mean, that monkey looks kind of insane. Like, just looking at the actual logo, he looks kind of crazy. But I know, okay, boys and girls, let's switch on over to the final draft of the day. So look at that. Looking at R&R's logo versus Even Worse Timing's logo. Like, the hamster just looks so innocent. Cynic, we will be watching some top tier gameplay from the best of the best of the best. Do you have a current pick just based on logo? Who do you think is going to win?
Even Worse Timing. Not competition.
Really?
It's the hat that does it for me.
It's the hat? Oh, okay. You don't think the monkey can go against the hamster?
No.
Well, the monkey's got a lot of potassium with that banana he's got in his mouth. So, he's got some vitamins on his side.
It's a cute mouse. How can you eat that cute mouse?
That's true. But going for bans, Cynic, who do you think the top bans are? We've got some really good junglers coming out from both teams.
I think Even Worse Timing will probably just ban the Kalari and take it away from North, and then maybe try to prioritize the Chimera just to get it away from him, just so he can't accelerate the game if he gets in a good situation. And then Rest and Relaxation, not really too sure what they would ban, because I don't really feel like there's really something they could be targeting, to be honest. I'm not too sure if Meds has any more on the Rest and Relaxation.
Yeah, I mean, we do see the Kalari come out here, which is a good call out, and we do see the Crunch come out. I'm a little surprised in the Crunch. I think the engage of the Crunch has been really good throughout the day, but we haven't really seen a lot of success on it. So I'm curious on why they are banning out the Crunch there. But I think you're right. I think the next priority pick is that Chimera. We want to see North on something that he can influence the game on. He was that go button in our last game. So I'd like to see a priority for Rest and Relaxation on that, but we do see the Belka come out, which could be an answer to that Chimera because of all that CC she brings.
Yeah, I think Rest and Relaxation tried to get Even Worse Timing in kind of a trap by banning the Crunch, because then it kind of puts more prioritization on the Chimera. But then I guess Even Worse Timing were like, haha, we knew we would do this, so we'll pay something that can flex, and obviously does very well into the Chimera anyways. So I'm wondering if Rest and Relaxation will just take the Chimera here just because of the way North plays, take Gideon and Deca. Interesting. I didn't expect that. I honestly thought they would put more priority on the Chimera there. But the deck, obviously, as we've talked about many times, is very good in the laning phase. Gideon is just safe in the mid lane, can obviously utilize its portals with teammates, and obviously enemies can follow, but they're slowed. So, yeah, I'm kind of liking these drafts so far. There's the Chimera we were talking about, and also Severog.
Yeah, we've seen this duo kind of team up before in kind of spectacular fashion. They just get so tanky. They can't really deal with anything. We've seen the Gideon answer into it, and while the Gideon does get that Megacosm, kind of that first, second item, we really don't see it affecting the tankiness that the Severog and the Chimera bring into the late game. So I'm really interested to see. We do see the Drongo come in. We're going to see the silence being placed right on that Chimera right after he jumps to hopefully negate that ultimate that comes out that provides a lot of that CC. into the the mid to late game. So we're going into bands 2 here. I really think that rest and relaxation will pinch that ADC role maybe, or maybe even that mid lane. I know we said that Belica might be able to flex into that mid lane, but I think having that strong push in the mid lane is important.
Yeah, we see the Revenant ban, and obviously Steel is a flex. They could obviously still flex the Decker as well, so they don't want the Steel and the Sevrog engagement. So, I mean, as we saw with Felix on the Sevrog last game, he was a monster, farmed in, just created so much chaos once they got into the late game. As we said, Drongo to silence. Not really the Revenant. I guess they're trying to just make it so that they can't isolate and blow somebody up, because they obviously have Gideon, Decker, and Drongo. Quite squishy team comp so far. But in terms of like even worse timing right now, I think they have the Exodia, Belica, Chimera, Sevrog, 3 insane power picks, and then rest and relaxation. In my opinion, I feel like their only like big pick is the Decker currently. I feel like Gadget is better right now than the Gideon personally, and then Feng Mao is the pick. In most likely would be the jungle, I would say.
I'd personally like to see this Feng Mao go off lane. I actually think it's a better pick into the Sevarog. You do that Q in that first level, you're spamming E's on level 2. I think it's actually a really good matchup into the Sevarog. That classical matchup into the Sevarog would be that Shinbi for that split push, but I think Feng Mao definitely offers that AD part to it. And we're seeing Muriel Murdoch come out for that duo lane. I think that's actually a really good pickups there.
Yeah, as I said earlier, I think Murdoch is underrated, and Muriel obviously is a very good partnership with the Murdoch. Speedy. He's going to be running down enemies with that East impact, and obviously the R&B from the Muriel. It's going to be a very quick Murdoch. And obviously, as you said, I feel like Shinbi has also slipped through the cracks a lot. I feel like Shinbi into Sevrog is a relatively good matchup for the Shinbi, but obviously, as we see, the Shinbi does come in, but obviously Shinbi is very hard to pilot. If it gets behind, it doesn't really benefit and give your team anything. So there's a lot of nukes on the side of rest and relaxation. If the Feng Mao doesn't get ahead, it's going to be really bad. Shinbi doesn't get ahead, it's going to be really bad. Whereas even worse timing has a lot of stable lanes, a lot of things that still give team utility even if they get behind. So interesting. I think even worse timing won this draft pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. Even worse timing, I think, wins this draft. You're going to have that Sevarog, that Chimera, like we said, being big monsters in the late game. That Muriel giving that that stim pack to the W key king himself, Chimera, and then rest and relaxation. They've got a lot of squishy things. They've got a very hard team comp to pilot. That Feng Mao, kind of like Kalari, like in the last game, is going to need to get around that vision. Shinbi is probably going to stay in the side lane and try to transition that lead that she is going to try to build into other lanes. But I think even worse timing just has a very straightforward comp.
We are just based on this draft, though, looking at EWT Cynic, what is the strategy for the draft and how can they keep up, like what you guys were mentioning, the Feng Mao and Shinbi being a problem?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the Chimera and how much like priority he has in terms of like where he can impact. Obviously, Sevarog, if he just builds, like once he gets his first item, at half the first item, he probably shouldn't die in that lane. Especially we know Shin, he knows how to play the game, he knows how to play smart, he knows the character's weakness, obviously. As we've seen, Muriel obviously can impact that lane once she hits level 6. So if Sevarog does get in a situation where that does happen, he can impact it, Murdoch can impact it. You can get ahead with these global ultimates, and obviously getting the Murdoch ahead is a win-win, helping the lane and also getting the Murdoch ahead. And obviously, Belica's just safe. But the only thing I do say that Rest and Relaxation have is that obviously they have Shove in mid with the Gideon over the Belica, which hopefully they can try and utilize to try and cave open some form of win condition.
Mr. Meds, can you tell us about what these team fights will look like from R&R and like what kind of combos are we going to see just based on the heroes that they picked?
Yeah, so I think we're going to see a lot of odd fights, odd member fights. We're going to see a lot of 4v5s. We're going to see a lot of, 2v3s. Cynic brought up a good point that mid lane, that Gideon has a really good shove. So we're going to see Gideon rotating out of the mid lane and into the jungle to team up with that Feng Mao a lot and try to influence the side lanes. I think that's a really big point, and I'm hoping that kind of translates through.
Yeah, I really like, when you have the mid lane and the jungler just working well together, they just have that synergy so they can make an impact on those side lanes that you mentioned. But, I want to see what EWT has in store for us with their draft. Seeing that you both favor RNR's draft, but with logo alone, I still really like RNR's logo better, and I want to prove you guys wrong, and I hope the monkey comes out on top. And now we're gonna pass the floor to Lance and F6, who have something very special for us.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Lance. I'm back. We are not doing the stranger dance. I am sorry, our dog. So F6, we got to get into this. This is the game that decides how the bracket is gonna add up. This is the potential finals, preview of it. These are going to be our 1 and our 2 seeds. They're going to get split to the other side of the bracket. Might be able to see these guys with $1,750 going to the winner of this in just 3 weeks. Tell me what you think is going to happen in this game early based on the heroes that are in this.
So I do have an answer for that, but I do have to kind of get a little bit hyped up here. This is the last match of today, so I am going to be doing my standard stranger dance to get a little bit more pumped up here for you, Lance. It's going to be a little bit more like this, hands out, and we're just going to rock with it. Then you just got to come with the dip and a big dip down and go right back to it. I'm feeling a lot more alive here, but going into this big old type to kill with the Muriel here, it's going to be a hard factor for them to kind of just counter that, because Muriel, she just does this thing of applying shields, right? And kind of in the early game, it's kind of like meh. But as the game goes on, it becomes so much more of an impact in this game, especially with the global ult that they have with Muriel, and added the Murdoch to that, able to kind of just get like some sort of CC off, get a Murdoch snipe down, and if they need a saving or two, they can use the Muriel ult for those quicker rotations to get the kind of the big old pick that they need on different sides of the map.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm expecting to see. And we've seen the impact that Chimera have had in these games so far in the tournament. And then you put a shield on top of him. You have an ability to get to him as soon as you want when that ult is up on the Muriel. And it just makes it so much safer. And Six is just such a high impact jungler. He's so up tempo. He's always where he needs to be when he wants to be. He's the one that's setting the pace onto the enemy jungler. And he's just going to get accelerated with having a character like Muriel in here to keep him, safe and protected as well, allow him to make, a little bit more risky plays than he would in other situations. Plus, I just got to point out before I throw it back to you that it is Vecron specifically that is on it. Not enough praise gets sung to Vecron. We saw what Tekken Kid did in the last match and how impactful early he was in the lane. Vecron is so nuts on support. Keep your eyes on him. Pablo gets a lot of the love for the pentakills and stuff, but geez, is Vecron a skilled player?
I totally agree with you there, Lance. Vecron is very underrated in these matches because Pablo, like you said, kind of takes the light away from him because he's just able to get those pentos, those quadras. But Vecron is just such a good facilitator, not just for Pablo, but for the entire team in general. His IQ and just his awareness on the map just makes that impact so much better for their team and just builds a lot more into the late game, and then a lot of people really notice.
Yeah, so we see them just, kind of hiding from each other. Not a whole lot of level 1 shenanigans going to go on. We were talking about the strength of the Muriel, but you had mentioned that it doesn't really pick up that huge until late in it. Who's got this early advantage laning-wise in the duo lane, Six?
Right now, it's going to be the Decker and the Drongo with Natty and Bartledew here, just because they have more CC into their kit, especially level 1. Yes, Muriel has that slow and the increased damage, but she has to hit it. But with that stun coming out from Decker, that's also big damage and allows them to close the distance a lot better than the slow.
Right. So I think that another thing that we need to address that we haven't really gotten onto yet is this mid lane matchup here. You see that the Gideon is picked up for rest and relaxation on Narek. What are they going to do to stop the black hole? There's not a lot of CC available for, even worse timing to really deal with that.
No, I mean, they can go in there, jump on with the Kai and ult that way, but that's going to be a lot of chaos going on when that Gideon ult. I mean, they can also use the Muriel ult, time it well, be in the right position to save somebody, to pop him up potentially. But if he goes into that true silver bracelet, nobody really focuses him out, and he has a soul barrier on top of that. It's going to be very hard to stop the damage output that he's going to be putting to this team.
Right, and you see, you know, the early game pressure that the Shinbi's putting on in the other lane as well, as actually a ball is going to land onto Vecron from Unga Bunga. They're going to put her in a cage like a zoo animal as well. Not a whole lot of follow-up damage early, though, as, you know, it is just a Drongo and a Decker at level 2. Not an insane amount of kill pressure with the shield as well. So, you know, tough one. But we got some ganks going on in the mid lane as both of the junglers have arrived there. Low health bar on the side of Seismic.
Yeah, just good pull coming in from north there. I don't think Seismic really saw that. They're able to really trade in there. He's going to have to be careful, though, on the Gideon. North is here to kind of peel for him a little bit more, and he's going to have to back up here on 6 side as well.
Yeah, North's just kind of looking at him menacingly at this point. Gonna have to dodge the Seismic Assault that will come out of Seismic here, as his Q should be getting up. Hit the frame 1 stun, and that's not super great. We're gonna have to see the flash come out of North to back up here, as well as the rest and relaxation boys have to get into their tier 1 tower. Don't want to be, you know, a victim of another knockup here, as Seismic does see some red pretty far back. Narc's just gonna try to soak this next minion wave's worth of experience underneath this tower, but look for him to back pretty shortly after this last minion dies here.
I definitely didn't like the re-engage from the Feng Mao there. I think that was a little bit too aggressive for it. I think he should have just took it, got the peel away from the Gideon, and that was good enough. Go back into his jungle and get his farm up. He just took a little too much poke, but he is looking over to this offlane here. Potentially might be able to get a kill on Shin.
Ooh, yeah, but Shin does still have the flash available to him. They're gonna burn it, which is great. Also gonna soak the Scion buff up for them, which is great. They are gonna get the 2 far side buffs, as Unga Bunga and Ooga Booga were able to pick up the gold buff just a second ago in the face of Pablo as well. So a little bit of the early neutral game going the way of RNR here. Not necessarily what you would expect, just based off the fact that this is the first time this RNR team has kind of entered a tournament together, and even worse timing has the, you know, the resume that they do, but it just, you know, it's going pretty well for them. Up 7 CS2, so, you know, big gains there, going strong for them. Unga Bunga still sitting at perfect CS with the 0 there. Always like to point out the supports doing what they're supposed to be doing and not taking CS.
That is something that not a lot of supports understand, and you're going to see the best of the best sit at maybe 2 CS at end of a game, right? You want to feed your carry, but just going over to that offlane that you see Severup is having a tough time with Akram. She's playing so well because she has the best character to really deal with that set, right? She doesn't really need to get close when she doesn't want to, and once that Megacosm comes online, she's going to be able to do the things she needs to do, poke away at that big Sev, and then whenever she needs to get a go for an all-in popper. Big stun coming over on Pablo there with a big cage. Muriel shields popped up, though, not going to do anything. Ooga Booga needs to get out of there, looking pretty low. Nothing's going to come out of it. Well, that was a great trade series there.
Yeah, a really good trade for them, as Ooga Booga's going to have to back up. He can't really take too many more pokes. If Vecron gets another good Q onto him with that huge slow that it comes out of it, that's probably going to be enough to kill him. And that, you know, it's kind of an effect of him trying to set that freeze up. He sat there and tanked that minion wave, waiting for his minions to come crash and leave the wave right here for a little bit. Probably took about a quarter of his health while he was doing it, and that's, you know, part of the result of it. Not a whole lot of hard CC to lock them down over on the side of Pablo and Vecron here. We got a fight going on in the mid lane. Seismic is up close on him. Gonna miss pretty wide right there with that ult. Tether comes on from Narek as well. Gonna force Seismic to drop down below it. Kind of reset in the middle here. Both of them do have 6, low on mana for both of them. That's more dangerous for Narek into a Bellico, though, than it is the opposite way. We see Indeed. 6 with a lane gank coming through as well. Unga Bunga's gonna hit the ball, but that might not be an engage that they want to take. I don't know if they're wise to the fact that Chimera is sitting there.
I think they do, but North is going over on center. Big
what a subjugate from Shin.
What a play from the big man Shin himself. Great self peels, escapes with 1 health. Oh my word.
Yeah, that's put him on the board. That's gonna be first blood for Seismic. Makes the roam over, picks up the Shinbi, but there's a invade also going on the other side as the blue buff for Rest and Relaxation is going to get picked up over by 6 here. Oh, he did pick it up. I thought that Bartledew had stolen that for a second, which would have been pretty impressive. I've seen Decker do some pretty long-range steals in the past, and Bartledew is really one of the ones that's going to be able to do that if anyone's going to be able to do it. But, just some counter jungling coming out of his. Norv is going to enter his blue side jungle here, find out that there's not much left to him, also find out that there's a 6 waiting for him. Has his level 6. Norv is only 5. Got to be careful here. You don't want to take this fight if you're Norv, but he knows that. And 6 knows the pressure that he has, but here comes the gadget to try to help. Naric's going to come back as well. This is a 3v1. 6 has got to be careful. Going to be on the quick sheet. Going to get the shield on him as well. Going to start to do some swinging, but Norv is going to be able to take him out. And that is exactly what Norv needed in order to be able to catch himself back up experience-wise, as he still did lose those 2.5 camps to 6 there.
Yeah, 6 just got caught out in the wrong part of the neighborhood there. I understood the aggression that he was trying to get off. He was able to get 2 out of the 3 camps on that blue side, but a little bit greedy on that end, and he should have just backed out, took what he could take, go back into his jungle and farm. But great rotation coming out of our R&R there to get the kill.
Here comes Narek. Oh, there's the black hole. Pablo is still inside of it. Gonna ult to get out of it. Vecron's out as well. See if they have any way to pursue forward. Doesn't look like they've got their blinks available, as Vecron is gonna get out with just a little bit of health here, but this is an opportunity for them to pressure onto this wave, as Vecron cannot stick around too much. Seismic is gonna take a peek forward, but he's gonna take the high path, which isn't gonna put him behind anybody. Gonna have to come in and try to do some damage, as Pablo is still low. Unga Bunga going pretty low on the health bar as well. Gonna double jump kind of out of nowhere here. Seismic not able to pursue them forward, as it looks like there's just not enough range. But on the other side of the map, we see 6 making the macro play. Gonna go for this mini prime, get buffed up there. Looks like no, the Sephiroth isn't gonna come over and help him, because I don't think that R&R are wise to the fact that this is even happening.
Yeah, I think Sephiroth just kind of zoning there, trying to keep a Shinbi inside the lane and give time for Narc 6 to be able to get this buff. I don't think Narc's going to be able to stop it, but 6 drops. It goes on to Narc here. He already used good blink out. That's unfortunate. Big ult coming with the chase from 6, though. Is he going to be able to pick up this kill? And it looks like down he goes. Akaram is here to save him, though. 6 is in trouble. North is going to be able to pick up the kill there and keep going with this fight, but I don't think there's too much that he can do being a Feng Mao.
Yeah, and North using a ult just a little prematurely there, ends up being a 2-for-1 in the favor of even worse timing. Gonna get them what looks to be this first Fang Tooth, maybe? No, not quite yet, as it still is 6 who is just respawning. Gonna go look towards his blue side, it looks. But Narc did accomplish one job that did stop them from taking the mini prime. Not necessarily sure that if it's worth 2 kills, as they can still just go pick this up whenever they need to. But, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Sometimes you miss the shots that you do take, but you don't know unless you shoot, right?
Yeah, I think 100 Thieves or 6 over there should have just kept onto the mini prime there. I think it was low enough for him to kind of get through with it, kind of just have the Sev rotate, try and zone as much as they can, because he definitely was on that mini prime buff a long time, and he was definitely in a decent threshold to kind of keep on it, but he was able to at least pick up a kill there, get some consolation prizes, and it's not too bad for even worse timing right now.
And we were talking coming into this game, I mentioned a little bit about how 100 T6 plays with so much tempo, and one of the biggest things that you can do to try to stop him is slow down his tempo, and that's what getting him off that mini prime there does. You see Seismic go really fall. Pablo's here to follow up the damage that comes out of it. Gonna get him with the long arm of the law, and down goes Neft, as Pablo says, you can't run from the police. They will always find you with a warrant. Knock him down, and that is a great counter engage from Pablo there, seeing that the enemies were low. Seismic gets out as well, able to hang on to his life, and this is exactly where you want to be if you're in even worse timings gamers chairs right now.
Yeah, we see these global ults kind of come into a little bit more of a play now. They're going to go towards the Fangtooth here to try and pick it up. They should be able to, due to the fact that they were just able to get the pressure off in mid. North is back.
I don't think they know. Yeah, they're just finding out that they're onto this. 6 is going to have to try to make a play to go into it. Ult's nothing. I don't know if I'm missing a character on my screen, but it looks like Hunter T6 just ulted the air. Doesn't matter anyways, as they're going to continue to press forward. That Fangtooth was taken by the side of R&R, but it looks like Norf is going to get pretty low. It's only going to take one more pounce. There it is. Hunter T6 is going to put him into spectator mode. Unga Bunga and Ooga Booga are going to have to run back, get in between their tier 2 towers, but it looks like they're going to pressure him. Ak and Shin are fighting over here as well, about half health for both of them. Got to be careful though, as that ult is up for Akram. That damage can come out of a Shinbi out of nowhere after taking a little bit of an elongated fight. Gonna pick the blue buff up for 100 T6 here as well.
Yeah, another invade coming in from 6. He's being able to apply this pressure in the jungle. He's kind of doing what North did to Dirty Lake and the boys in their game, and he's kind of just putting that pressure onto North because he does not have this guy, and he's able to just apply that pressure. But so we're going to see 6 kind of just have the level advantage and XP advantage, even if we press the tab screen here, because he's just been able to kind of just go inside the jungle, clear it out, even though he did catch a death with a very aggressive invade there.
Yeah, and you see, just looking at the score, Seismic causing an absolute earthquake this game, being 4-0-2 on that Belica. Not the character that you want to get behind if you're on the enemy team, with her ability to one-shot you with one combo, all of the different things that she brings to a team comp. When you know how to play around her, the way that 100T, the way that even worse timing EWT plays in this, you see that they've also lost their tier 1 tower over in the duo side already as well. We saw that Ooga Booga and Unga Bunga were setting up a lot of freezes right on the outside of their tier 1 tower, and this is one of the consequences of them playing safe that entire laning phase and playing back that entire time. Didn't get ganked a whole lot, didn't get set that far behind, but they've lost their tier 1 tower this early.
Yeah, and it's not too bad for them. They still have Aku over there, but 6 is looking like he's getting ready to try and pounce on top of Aku here. Big pounce coming in. Flash is going to have to be out. Oh, subjugate. Oh my goodness. Oh, possibly could have dashed in and ulted there, but unfortunate for that. But they were able to force out the blink. Unfortunate that Kai had to use his ult.
Yeah, Norf is still stalking them over here. Sees Vecron up near the 5 camp. Gonna try to go harass him a little bit, but it looks like they're just trying to pressure this tier 1 tower. 6 once again just relentlessly going for that tempo play, trying to get that mini prime so he can move around the map, get into the lane, start pressing these tier 1 towers down. As it is R&R right now who has it is even worse timing right now that has that one neutral objective claimed with the tier 1 tower falling down. Even though they are down the Fangtooth, now they're going to get this mini prime. Watch 6 move around from lane to lane. They're going to start knocking towers down. Actually, as I'm reviewing the mini map, it looks like 2 tier 1s are down on the side of Rest and Relaxation. So a little bit of gold starting to get, starting to pile into a lot of gold for even worse timing in this lead here.
Yeah, they were able to pick up a kill. Oh, Vecron going to get stunned there. He's going to have to pop shield, try to run out. There's a big cage. Muriel all comes in to save the day. Get Vecron, get Muriel, get her out of there, because that was going to be a close one, especially with no nearby.
Right.
But you're going to see 6 pushing this T1. Already got that down, pushing the T2 there. They were able to pick up a solo kill, or Seismic rotated over to kill Aku on that path, so they're going to get this pressure on the side of the map as well.
Yep, and that's exactly what you can expect out of him now that that mini prime is, secured. They're going to wait, take a little bit of counter jungling, have this next wave push up, meet it, knock it down really quick, and then push another super minion wave into that tier 2 tower. Exactly what you want to do if you're even worse timing is you want to put the Shinbi as far behind as possible, not let her have control over this side of the map and kind of pin her down to one location. That's going to stop her impact on the rest of the map and be absolutely huge if even worse timing wants to control the macro of this game.
Yeah, they have a lot of pressure on even worse timing right now. If they keep going with the same route they're doing right now, they should be ending up with the second Fangtooth to get the aggression. They've already opened up the map by getting these tier 1 towers. So look for them to start invading a little bit more, being a little bit more aggressive than they already are, and try and get this pressure to go over onto this primal, or onto the second Fangtooth.
Right. So we do have the Shinbi getting, engaged on just a little bit. Pretty safe, though. She's got the double disco dash. Not a whole lot of sticking potential from the Sevarog in order to be able to blow her up. Gonna try to get this gold buff as well, but Pablo and Vecron not gonna contest it. Just gonna give it over to the caveman duo lane here. Unga Bunga's gonna do the double jump up there, put her passive on a little bit of cooldown there for a second. Move towards the mid lane. Got to be careful though, as 6 is looking to come down that set of stairs. Ooh, Bard's gonna have to kind of walk away here, but not a whole lot of ways for Six to get onto it. Gonna have to use the double jump again, as it doesn't look like Six is pursuing her. But no, they're gonna turn their attention onto the Fangtooth, as they should. Get that global gold, that extension onto the buffs. Not a whole lot of contention, even though North is starting to run around the corner. All the members there, they're going to take it down really quick. That's first Fangtooth for even worse timing.
Yep, gonna be easy, right? We talked about them setting up, getting pressure to kind of just get the second Fangtooth, and they were able to do that just by getting pressure in lane 6 here, just being a little bit aggressive, trying to poke out in the mid. There is 3 that might be looking to invade the red side, possibly gank this Shinbi that is out of position in the off lane.
Yeah, they got this pressure coming in here. Shinbi's going to try to take the right lane tier 1, but it looks like she may be a little too far upstream, as both Shin and Six are coming over here. Not a whole lot more for her to run. Uses the second disco dash the other way, but the subjugate's going to land. That's going to be her dying. Not going to able to get the ult off. Probably not in kill range on Shin anyways. A minion wave is in the tower with the supers, but Shin should be able to clear that up, and that's going to keep the tier 1 alive.
Yeah, it's definitely going to keep it alive. There's nobody really there to really add on to that pressure. Seb's just going to get some free stacks, farm up a little bit more, trying to get to end game stacks here and apply that late game Seb that we all know and love. There's a lot of pressure that Six himself is just applying throughout this map, especially with big old Seismic, with all those kills and all that gold, just being able to use of his advantage to rotate with Six. They're just holding each other's hands, is applying this pressure, and that's really what's carrying even worse timing right now.
Right, got to be getting close to that second item. Seismic is probably actually 18 minutes, probably about 2.5 items finished for him. Got a couple of kills under his belt. I still believe he has not died yet, which, you don't got to state the obvious, but that's pretty good for him. They are on the retreat here for rest and relaxation, though, as they have the numbers advantage here. Decker's going to get jumped onto, but the cage is going to keep her safe. But Six isn't one to push the S key, as he's still looking forward at them.
Yeah, he's definitely a little bit more of a safer player than Pablo. Pablo probably would have ended up just using his W key the entire way there. But Six realized he doesn't really have the kill potential once the cage went up. They're going to be getting ready. They're getting a little bit pressurized in mid lane, though, with this Gideon kind of just doing his thing, right? Aku pressuring the off lane. They're going to have to figure out to answer this before they can look for another objective or invade inside the enemy jungle.
Ooh, and that is Ak getting the tier 1 tower over there. Still doesn't quite want to fight Shin, as some of that magic resist has got to be coming online. He's actually gonna, shadow slip forward into him. Ock's gonna have to use the first disco dash, the second disco dash to get away, but Seismic's here as well, and Ock's gotta run. Not a whole lot of places for her to go as well, as she's already used the dashes. She is in retreat mode. It's only gonna take one more bit of CC. Oh, and here it comes. He's gonna get up there. Is the subjugate gonna land on it? Doesn't have it there. It is the big ult is gonna come out at Seismic there. That's gonna blow Shinbi up, and that's another numbers advantage pressing down onto the map for even worse timing, stretching that kill counter difference between them to 2 to 9 as well. And the action's not over.
It is not over indeed. Six going to apply that pressure still consistently towards the stack. A big pop-up coming in, and down goes a second member of R&R. This is going to look like a Orb Prime fight coming in. Should be pretty easy pickup for even worse timing with 2 down.
Yeah, and they see that Ooga Booga is over on the left side of the map, does hit the base, so that's good. He's going to be able to defend. It is only 20 minutes and 20 seconds. Not super sure that they can rip the Orb Prime right now. Wouldn't be surprised if they tried to do it, though. Looks like Seismic reset. I don't think they're going to push Orb Prime right now. Definitely a little bit of extra gold on the side of even worse timing, as once again, the gap is widening between these two teams in gold right here. You do see that they are also down, what is that, about 70 gold or 70 CS in it as well. Take a look. We've still got Seismic sitting at 6-0-3 right now, accounting for 60% of his team's kills. He's been in 90% of the kills for it. 3 items at 21 minutes. That's absolutely insane, Seismic.
Yeah, he's going into his 4th one right now. A pretty big boy, but they're going to be looking over to fight inside this river. I don't think you want to fight that there, Decker. Once again, Aku caught out of position. Pablo with the 6 coming in to be able to pick up another kill. I don't understand. I think Aku at this point needs to either freeze the lane and try and wait for an objective to split push, or just group up with your team at this point. There's not really much impact you're able to do by yourself. Even Worse Timing is able to see what you're doing, especially while you're pushing in from a tier 2 to be able to answer it before you're really able to do something with it.
I agree. I think Ak needs to join the team and just try to dive onto Pablo as soon as she sees him in any sort of team fight that they are in. They get one good little engage, one little fight started, and Ak just needs to funnel for it for Pablo. There's not a whole lot of work that he's putting in over in that right side lane. They're going to have to sack they're not going to have to sack this tier 2 as it is North over there getting it, but that's going to be them giving up the second Fangtooth for it as they don't have their jungler here to try to hunt it away.
Even if they had their jungler there, Lance, I don't think there is much they can do in the game right now to really stop Even Worse Timing from getting what they want, unless they wanted to be throwing a little bit off into there. It's a very high risk, high reward for them to really do anything scary right now. They kind of just need to play safe, kind of farm up a little bit longer, and potentially go ahead and kind of press them back whenever they have their Orb Prime.
Do you think that this is a composition where they should be scaling, though? I kind of feel like Even Worse Timing has the late game in this situation as well. I feel like they need to try to take an aggressive play, get themselves put ahead, steal some sort of pick or some neutral objective from them, or timing's going to run out for them.
They're pretty evenly matched on the late game versus early game. Shinbi's definitely going to be scaling in a little bit later as she keeps farming up.
Not if she's 0-6.
That is true, but if she's still able to get farm and get some golden pocket, as long as she's able to get items in there, it's not really going to be too much of a problem, especially when she starts building those obelisk stacks as well. But she needs to go into these neutral objective fights, go after Pablo in the backside, and take out their damage dealers to really be an impactful with this team.
She does do a lot of damage as she starts to get some items underneath her belt. It gets pretty menacing to deal with, but we gotta see how that goes. She's gonna have to double disco dash away, and she just gets blown up one more time. That's another 4v5 advantage for Even Worse Timing as they are looking towards this Orb Prime. Gonna have to do a miracle here out of rest and relaxation if they're gonna want to be able to steal this away from them.
Yeah, I don't think they want to commit to this Orb Prime just yet, even though they're that far ahead. They still have the enemy jungler up. Seismic kind of in a bad position. Big Rift Walker getting with the black hole coming out of nowhere. They might be able to turn this fight around, but I don't think Six is going to have it. Six is still in trouble, though. Nerek in the back. Sev's going to have to come and help him out. Monaco, my goodness, Six, you need to get out of there, bud. I think they're going to have to take a nice retreat here, but what a defensive play to zone them out from R&R there to keep themselves in this game.
Yeah, and a huge black hole coming out of Narek there, really catching a lot of the members, able to take Pablo down from that spot. Got the big shot down onto Seismic as well, as you see Seismic's death timer starting to tick down. So that's going to be a massive spike up for Narek. You see him sitting there at 2, 2, and 3 now. Way better than where he was at before. Gonna get that third item. Looks like he's working towards that true silver bracelet in the fourth one as well. So gonna be able to have more impactful ults. It's gonna be harder to knock him out of it, even though it's already very hard as there's not a whole lot available on Even Worse Timing to stop him here. But this game is starting to potentially come back R&R's way a little bit here, but it's still a pretty tall mountain to climb.
Yeah, it's a very tall mountain to climb still. I mean, that was just a very good play from R&R there to keep themselves alive in this game, but they are still down pretty bad. They're going to have to keep making these huge plays, kind of keep the Even Worse Timing from getting these neutral objectives while still farming. So we'll see what they do going on in the future here, but if they don't really kind of stick with that game plan, we might see them just fall completely over.
Yeah, and look at them just harassing North as he's trying to take his 2 camp here. They say, hey, what's yours is ours now with the lead that we have. And just like that, he's just going to get obliterated by Seismic there, trying to take his own 2 camp. That's not your jungle anymore, North. That's Even Worse Timing's jungle.
Yep, it is indeed. It's been Even Worse Timing's jungle pretty much this entire game.
Oh, Natty should be pushing that.
He should be pushing that. Might be backing here to try and help, but I think his best job is to push that T2 whilst Even Worse Timing is on the Orb Prime here. Is potentially going to be free, but they're able to contest once again. Coming in, they stop it. Big black hole coming out from top. They're able to jump up on top of Nerek. He's in trouble here. Pablo's also in trouble in the back line. Can Vecron save him with the shields? But are they going to be able to all get out? No. Oh my word!
No, he did with it. It's Pablo, man. Of course he did it.
Pablo. Oh my word.
So
He
just
laid
when
the
you
law
think,
down there.
just when you think it's an even wash, and both teams are going to have to get out, get a reset. Pablo hits the one of the only global ults from within the game. They're going to chase Ooga Booga back in here. They don't even care about that tier 2 tower. They're going to let the minions handle it. They're looking at this inhib now as they've got another wave in here. Only Norf is here to be able to defend this, as that Drongo does have to go touch the fountain, get his health bar back up on him. Seismic's going to bunny hop towards Norf, says, haha, look at me, old teammate. The tides have turned. We used to win together. Now I am winning against you. They're going to move to the mid lane inhibitor as well. That one's going to fall. Not a minion wave set up for them to take the left side, but even better than that, they've got the Primal Fangtooth just about a second away from coming up. They're going to give this blue buff over to Shin, it looks like, not to Pablo, and they've got their eyes set on the big dinosaur in the pit.
They sure do, and we must have missed it because they were able to go back towards Orb Prime there, pick it up even though they're low health. That Muriel Shield's kind of coming into play, and that just sustain coming in from Chimera as well. Aku trying to apply a little bit of pressure on Shin, but she has to be careful here. There's just, I don't think she's learned her lesson just quite yet. It should be to like, hey, you're not kind of in this game right now. You kind of need to play a little bit more on the passive side, wait for an opportunity to really show your potential here.
Yeah, and they're just kind of looking at them menacingly here. Not what you want to see is the Decker is just going to get absolutely blown up after the subjugate, and that's a numbers advantage once again for even worse timing, as they are looking to take the objective that's probably going to finish the game. Might just look to start a fight as they've got this health regen coming up from the Orb Prime anyways. Narc's going to come in with a big black hole that's going to suck a couple of them forward, but they're going to knock them out of it early. The stasis is going to come out of Seismic, and the colossal blow is going to knock them back into the wall. The health bars are starting to fall low. Norf is going to get out with just a sliver of health, but the ball is gonna, or something is gonna stun him up, and Shin is gonna be able to come forward and get him. Six is gonna jump forward onto Ooga Booga and get him as well. Naric's on the run, but he cannot hide. He has no inhibitor to fall back to. The subjugate is gonna land on him as well, and that is gonna be 3 members of Rest and Relaxation down. 4 members still up for even worse timing as they're looking to push in, end this game, claim the 1 seed that is rightfully theirs as the defending champions from PCC4. They're gonna be the 1 seed going into PCC5 as well, and they are ready to see you September 2nd.
Oh my word. Even worse timing. Absolutely just dominated that entire game from minute 1. They just came in and they're like, oh, I saw you guys out there playing, but don't forget that we are the reigning champions.
And Six mentioned the assist scores after the game that he cast with TJ and the difference between them. Before they got cut off screen, if you were looking at it, it was 13 to 44 in assists there in favor of even worse timing, obviously. And, it was just apparent they were playing together the entire game. They were exactly where we want to be. F6, before we kick it back to the desk, I need one more stranger dance from you. Give it to me.
One more stranger dance. All right, we got it.
All right, ready?
So we're just gonna get it here. Just gonna start it with it. Then we just gotta come in with a little dip, and then dip again. Then we're back to it. All right, that one's for you, MT. Take it away, our dog. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much, Lance and F6. We can't leave you guys hanging, okay? Mr. Meds and Cynic, we gotta do the little bit of a shake left and right. Come on, Cynic. Then we gotta dip. Then we gotta dip right again.
I'm not taking part in this. I did not consent.
Consent is important. Oh man, what an astounding banger of a match to end our day. 6 on that Chimera, just able to create so much pressure, which was what the casters mentioned. And you know what? That's actually what North did to D-Lab earlier as well. He played Chimera, and that's exactly what he did. R&R definitely didn't go down without a fight. Unfortunately, the hamster does indeed win against the monkey, Mr. Meds. But Cynic, please tell us about what we just watched.
I mean, it was a really slow early game, to be honest. I thought it was going to be a very long and back and forth game, but then it came to small decision making from EWT with the macro in terms of their lane priority, because they had a push in mid, which is something that we talked about, which the Gideon should most of the time have, but there was a gap where Seismic took an opportunity to go to the off lane. once that pick happened in the offlane, the game kind of changed tempo quite heavily in EWT's favor, because what they kept doing is these timings where they had minion priority, they would just roam, get a pick, roam, get a pick, and then that offlaner was so far behind that it was just impossible for them to come back in unless the game went to 40-50 minutes, which EWT, once they get a lead, is probably one of the teams that you look at in terms of once they get a lead, they don't take any silly decisions. They just play the macro, play the vision. As you noticed that once R&R tried to do Orb Prime, mini Orb, but they had no vision of where the Chimera was. Came in, lost the advantage. That objective is gone. Whereas on the flip side, EWT only did objectives when they knew where people were and they had the advantage and they had lane priority, which is something that obviously teams should look at going forward and try to learn that macro, because that is the difference between EWT and a lot of these teams, is just making decisions quickly based off what they see and what they don't see, which is something that you also need to keep in consideration, which was a lot of roaming from mid to the offlane, which I don't know the communication was, but if someone is missing, you need to play safer. You cannot be pushed up that far, because as you saw once, twice, 3 times, Seismic's in your lane, Six in your lane. Sick was playing a lot of pressure in the jungle, kept the tempo up. He did have a little bit of a feed moment, should have left a lot earlier, but he came back in, didn't feed again. He kept the tempo back up as it was, and EWT kind of just slowly dwindled away at R&R, and the game ended, basically.
Yeah, props to EWT. That was just beautiful to watch. They were just so well coordinated. But Mr. Meds, what stood out for you from this game?
So I think the big point here is that, that Cynic made was that EWT does not take their foot off the gas. They, once they have their grips on a game, they're not going to let go. They really just don't let up. It's just one of those things. And I think it's important to highlight here that Chimera today had 100% win rate. Whenever he's picked, he's going to win that game. So I think it's important as we're looking to the main event. We will have a patch in between here, but will that Chimera have that much of a priority going into the main event? Who knows? I think today's kind of a showcase of what the pick can do. The E changes that he got from, way back when, and the ultimate changes just made him such a high level player. He can be picked up at the lowest level, but it's really, really important to highlight how he has that high skill cap now that, makes him a competitive hero.
But going back to that, how could this, would have turned out differently for R&R Cynic?
It kind of snowballed from one bad decision when they forced an objective, and I feel like kind of from there they kind of didn't have a way back in, because the offlaner kept giving gold away. They kept getting and EWT kept getting further and further ahead. I feel like they just needed to try and assist the offlaner, and the offlaner kind of just last hit, play it slow, and try to shove the wave really quickly, and then look to roam and try and impact the map elsewhere and get gold back. But instead it was just constant push, constantly getting ganked, constant push, constantly getting ganked, and rinse and repeat. And then Dual Lane wasn't really getting ahead, even though I feel like their lane was like the pick lane. They should be trying to get kills. Obviously the Muriel is like a defensive, doesn't really have any of that like pick potential, so to speak, that Deca has. So I feel like if R&R put more priority on trying to get the dual lane ahead, and the offlaner kind of played a little bit safer once they were behind, because obviously the win condition for EWC was target the offlane because it's behind, and kind of snowball from there.
They're just really shaking up the meta here, and like what Meds has mentioned, this is something that we'll be seeing in the next match, or the next time that we'll be broadcasting, in our quarterfinals and semifinals of PCC5. But anything else that you'd like to mention, Mr. Meds?
Yeah, I think that these pick strategies that a lot of people are going for, we kind of haven't really seen them work all the time. It seems like we're seeing a lot of front to back team fights, and I think that's what we're going to continue to see going into the next phase of this tournament. We'll see how Zaris spices things up, but See.
Thanks, Cynic and Mr. Meds. We do have a bracket here. So all the Elite 8 teams that we watched today will make it through, like we mentioned earlier, in our 2-day final event, which will be on September 2nd and September 3rd. The top 3 teams that will come out on top will take part on that $3,500 juicy prize pool. So we've got EWT, NOCO, Rogue, For Fun Gamers, of course, the RNR, we've got Bad Timing, D-Lab, and last but not the least, we've got Pink Raven. So super excited and super stoked to watch the main event. We hope to see you there September 2nd and 3rd. But, we wouldn't be anything without the players who are here. So thank you so much for joining us and taking part in our event. Thank you so much, Cynic and Mr. Meds, who is a part of our desk. How can the people catch up with you, Mr. Cynic? Plug yourself in.
You can just follow me on Twitter. I tweet a lot over there, and most of my streams are posted on there as well. So follow my Twitter, you'll keep up with me. So that's me.
And Mr. Meds, what about you?
Yeah, I'm just on Twitter. You'll see me kind of trolling around the general Discord as well. So, like to spend a lot of time there.
Yeah, follow these two on Twitter. But I am getting a message here. So we do have a podcast as well. So if you'd like to see more of us, we are doing a podcast besides the main event, which will be on August 26th with RGS Ace, CEO of Omega Studios, as our guest. So please tune in to that. Catch up with our Zitter, Twitter, whatever. Follow us on there. Sub to our YouTube. I'm still really confused on how I should say that. Join our Discord. Anywhere else, thank you so much for all the follows today. Thank you so much for all the subs. We really appreciate all of the support, getting us over 900 follows. We really appreciate it. We thank you for being a part of our stream. It means a lot to us. So besides Mr. Meds and Cynic, I gotta say thanks to the rest of our behind the scenes production and the rest of our on-screen talent, Hot Sauce, Choice Plays, Jolster, Lance Cecil, F6, 94J, Geronimo Jack, TJ Tedium, Spooky Mars, Man of Class, Narendis, and of course Stranger, who is a pioneer of the Stranger Dance. Apologies to those who I've missed. Thanks for, oh my God, Cynic did a little bit of part of it. Thank you, Cynic. That was all him. Special thanks again to Omega Studios, who kind of helped us out. I don't know if you guys saw, but they did release and help us out with a hot fix yesterday. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. So we could have this broadcast stream smoothly and show you guys what these players are all about. My name is Ardog with the triple G's. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube now. We'll see you next time on August 26th for our podcast with RGS Ace. And then, of course, quarterfinals and semifinals September 2nd. But we're going to go ahead and raid somebody. And that name is Secret Salsa. So please go ahead and show him some love. Thank you, everybody. Bye now.